So, I came back from Abracadabra Coffee Company, brought home this bag that you just saw before you. Now don't mind everything here, this is in another video coming up. Now, what I ended up trying at the coffee shop itself was what they call Dark Times. It was a single origin Brazil, a natural coffee with tasting notes of chocolate, caramel, and brown sugar. I found it to be quite sweet on the initial tasting, and then it started to become a little bit more tart towards the end, but it took time to develop on your tongue. So it was a really pleasant espresso, and it was good to be back there after, I don't know, it's been a year, longer than that. It's been almost 2 years since I've been to Abracadabra. Some things have changed since last time. They seem to be pretty settled into that spot. One thing I noticed too, I'm not sure if last time when I went, if they were just more unknown, which I think they were, or they just got more popular. It seems like that. People really know where they are now. Even though they seem kind of off the beaten path, they're on a main road. They're a little bit ways outside of Woodstock. A lot of people seem to love and respect that place, and they really do have fantastic coffees. This is something I'll be brewing very soon, but not in this video. Leaving off with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Good morning, everyone. It's your boy Connor. Welcome back to Slinging Sips on American Coffee Trip, where today I'm going to be breaking open a new bag from Abracadabra Coffee Company. This is a single origin El Salvador, and it's also a SL-28 variety, which is something that I don't believe I've reviewed on this channel before. And I'm going to be breaking it out on the Chemex. So I'm going to get my water heated up. I'm going to change the temperature on the water slightly, bringing it up to 96 degrees Celsius. I keep the same exact grind setting that I used on my Chemex as I do with pour over, V60 and 0. Origami, I'm going to work on getting a better filter for it, because right now the filters I have severely restrict flow because of the sizing difference. And I love the wacky graphics that you get on these bags. It's just really cool, these little cartoon drawings, some wild stuff right here. It's quite trippy looking, actually. Another change I'm going to be making as well. My water is already heated up. What I'm actually going to do to try to reduce the loss, the temperature loss from the glass itself, is I'm going to overwash the glass. I'm just going to add a lot of water to it. This is a big piece of glass. A lot of heat is lost throughout the brewing process, especially when you're brewing for like 3 to 4 minutes on something this large. There we go. I used up almost all of my water. Do is I'll open this up. Get the cold tap going. Filtered water. Add that. You guys can get some insight on what I do with the water. This water in particular is from the well, so there's no harsh chemicals and things like that interfering with the taste that comes out of it. And I always do a 50-50 of the filtered water and the actual tap water. Okay, so I'm gonna let this heat up for a little bit. That glass is definitely getting hot now, which is really good. That's what we want. I've got 42 grams of coffee here. Oh, I lost the bean. Let me find the bean. Where'd the bean go? Okay. Now we wait. Yes, I am still following the Chemex recommended 1 to 3 side paper filter. I haven't had issues with this in particular, but I know things could be better if it had 2, separate walls on either side. I know things would be better. Still, we're gonna work with it how we can. Alright, so that amount of hot water should prevent an excessive amount of heat loss when I'm brewing my coffee. So that's the idea behind that. Oh, that's properly hot now. Good. Being very careful removing this. Alright. $41.6 grams of coffee. Get a nice flat bed in there. I watched a video where Lance Hedrick, he had a few different methods on how to solve for the deficiencies of the Chemex. I want to try to my best ability just solve it by using good free flow or a good pour technique. And I am probably going to institute the 2-sided wall papers that he suggests. But what I'm going to do instead of putting like a silicone blockage there, is when watching the flow of the coffee, and none of it has really been channeling into this divot here, which is something I've been keeping a very close eye on. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to pour it in such a way where I'm rinsing out the paper. I'm making a clockwise turn, stop, and a counterclockwise turn, and let the water kind of spread to this part and wet it in that way without pouring directly on it, so this paper doesn't sink into that divot and then block my flow completely. Alright. Water's at 94 degrees Celsius. I'm going to wait for it to heat right back up and then we'll start our brew. Same exact technique that I use for the pour over, except doubling the recipe for everything. Smells good. Stick my nose in there. It says I'm going to get tasting notes of black currant, brown butter, chocolate, and raspberry. That sounds good. That sounds good. Alright, let's give it a start. 100 gram bloom. All of the coffee is coming out at the very bottom, which kind of speaks to how great these filter papers are. Not getting any flow out of the side. I'm wondering if that will change when I change it to 2 sides on each. I went a little bit too heavy on the first pour, so I'm backing off about 20 grams per on the last 2 pours. Should be able to get the same result. Watching this channeling, there's still air escaping. It's just moving that a little bit. Was starting to kind of dip into it. Hasn't formed a perfect seal. There's still coffee just dripping out of that point right down there. Condensation's being formed heavily on this part. And now we just wait. 3-minute brew so far. Wow. It smells like a honey truffle butter. Four minutes, 40 seconds. Beautiful. Pour this coffee out. Quite good. Oh my goodness, I was just looking at this little graphic down here. Got the Illuminati on there. That's it, guys. Illuminati officially runs Abracadabra Coffee Company, so heard it here. Gonna start some conspiracies on this channel talking about Abracadabra and their Illuminati dealings. Just saying, if Illuminati were to exist, they'd probably be drinking some fantastic coffee. Based out of a church in Brazil or something like that. Raspberry notes don't hit too strong, but they nicely come right before the chocolate tasting notes. It's raspberry and sweetens out with chocolate. And it's got a little bit of molassiness like honey does. But the fruitiness is honestly more prevalent than the molassesy texture that I'm getting. Starting to get some watermelon tasting notes in there. As the coffee's cooling down, the raspberry tasting notes are getting longer. That's something that you guys might find too if you try this coffee out. With any coffee in general, the tasting experience is going to change as the temperature drops from when you first complete the brew. Honey's not that prevalent in this coffee. A lot more berry, a little bit of chocolate. Goes in the order of berry, chocolate, and honey as far as the prominence. And as the coffee's cooling down, they're all kind of lengthening, but especially the raspberry tasting notes, something that's very prevalent in this. It's really good. It's kind of like a dark chocolate bar, 65% dark chocolate with way more raspberry than there is chocolate. If that was made into a coffee, this is what that coffee would be. It's pretty damn good. I like Abracadabra coffee. And I would love to try more bags of this in the future. If you guys want me to. I don't care if you want me to or not. I'm going to just keep doing it because this coffee is fantastic. But I'm going to enjoy this. I've got some work I need to get done today. And with that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.